Okay, time to lift the top of the tone generator again. That means these screws. I have loosened up all the screws. So there's 4 of these big screws on the side, and then 14 of these smaller black screws that need to be removed. And now I can have a go at the LCD. Oh, looks like it has a plug in there. Interesting. Okay, let's see if I can get this metal panel off proper. Look at this chip. I'll flip the camera around. So you will see that this is an HD 44100H. I believe that is a very box standard 16:2 LCD. Looks like this might work. So this just unplugs. Looks like I'm gonna have to unscrew the LCDs first, because this is prodding against this PCB here. It's kind of stuck in there. Okay, and here we have the 2 LCDs side by side. Might fit. Oh, that doesn't fit. That's wider. Mounting holes do not align. The LCD itself seems to be the exact same size. So looking here, you can see this connector coming from the main board. It has all the pins of an LCD, so power, and we have the brightness, or contrast rather, we have read, write, enable, reset, all the data pins. So that's all labeled on there. However, here on the actual cable going to the LCD, it's not labeled. So I'm gonna have to check all these pins here for where they actually connect to, so I know on the LCD, or rather on the experimental LCD, where I need to connect them to this too. So I'm gonna make a little connect a pin header with wires to this. Okay, so it turns out if you flip this connector, which is normally like this, if you flip it like so it's facing you, then the pinout actually corresponds to this layout, except for that there is extra VSS and VDD pins on this connector. So if you ignore those, everything above my finger corresponds with that connector. So that actually makes it a little easier. Moment of truth. Will it work? Stupid power button. Still have some issues with the data lines, it seems. Okay. I had my wiring reversed. I accidentally mirrored the pinout of this. And yeah, of course that doesn't work. But now, ta-da! Yamaha Electone HX-1. Pretty nice, I will say. But yeah, of course, I need kind of figuring out how I'm gonna make this not such a mess. So even though the LCD doesn't quite fit, I put some washers on the second set of screws. And I just screwed it in place on the other side, and that actually is very sturdy. So yeah, and the LCD itself does align with the window on the front. So it's a little bit weird, but this is actually fine, because this should be on here straight like so. You can see there's damage here on the metal, or some sort of guff or something from it hitting this, I guess, somehow. Yes and no is properly being displayed on the edge here. Yeah, this is perfect. This is a lot more readable than the previous screen, from many more angles too. Yup, turns out you can just leave everything connected. Just gotta open the front panel so that this panel folds out nicely without like rubbing up against this. So yeah, now I can access everything, but everything's still connected, which makes measuring and everything so much easier. You need to loosen 4 black screws, which are here, back here, and here. And the entire module just pops out like that. There we go. Please note that there's also a ground wire coming from here, the mains plug, and going to this screw terminal over here, which is kind of hidden by the loom. Beware that if you remove these PCBs, it's not just the screws on the corners, but also 2 screws here and 2 screws in the back here that hold the transformer in place, because the transformer is soldered onto the PCB. And now we can reach all the solder joints, and by the looks of it, there has been some soldering already. Oh, interesting. So with this power supply, same thing. There's 1 black screw here, 1 black screw here, 1 over there, and 1 over there that I already removed. We have the switch mode power supply, which delivers 5 volts to all the digital rails, all the digital circuitry in the organ, which is quite a lot. You can already see we have some transformers, 1 very chunker of a capacitor, and some normal sized capacitors that you'd expect on a power supply of this type. I've also replaced all the capacitors on this audio board. This is all the analog stuff, lots of mixing and of course gating and stuff. And there's quite a few electrolytics in those audio pads that I wanted to refresh, so I have optimal quality. And of course I also did all the 220 microfarad capacitors of all the power rails on the analog and digital boards. Capacitors now are also replaced with new ones. This one is also completely fresh. Now what I want to do is measure again, just to make sure. And I also want to tweak this one to be exactly at 5 volts, because it's at 5.13 now. So it's a little bit on the high end. With these old chips, I just want to be sure to have it in good nick for the foreseeable future. Yep, now we're all good. What does the Fox say? 14.75, 14.81, that's both ground, 14.66, 14.8. Okay, so that's all nice and dandy. Guess I'll have to put it like this, because otherwise oh god, I have to poke in there. Okay, this screwdriver fits. I couldn't find my small one. If I die, at least I'll die happy. And that's a perfect 5 volts. Take it, these are the same. Yep. Right, not sure if I want to scream or cry, so I dropped a screw in here again. Now there's these 6 screws here, which you can unbolt to presumably get the entire assembly out. And they're all loose except for this one. This one is dying. I might not get it out at all because of this one screw. That's stubborn. I took all the force I could muster with these with this thing, but I got it to move finally. As you can see, it's pretty far gone, the screw, so the head. So this was my last solution, and it worked. Don't tell me it fell. Okay, no, there it is. That's the screw that needed to go in here. Yeah, it's just a whole hunk of metal. So nothing to it at the bottom. And, on the other side you've seen. Okay, so this is fun. To be able to get this panel loose, you have to disconnect this connector, which is on the PCB behind this plate. So you have to undo all this just to get this out. So there's a couple of hinges, and yeah, as you can see, this one is a little bit busted. So tomorrow I'll be going to Marc, who is another YouTuber who invited me, and who offered to have a look at this panel, see if he can improve it. Okay, so that is this connector. Okay, I'm gonna have to snip those, but then it will be free. And it's loose. So the smaller 4-pin connector does not need to be disconnected. Okay. There seems to be some past repairs here, or either way flux that hasn't been cleaned up. And there's also a little botch here. Okay, everything has been screwed together. That was a lot of screws, except for the final mount screws for the tone generator. So I'm gonna test it first. Okay, everything seems to work. Yeah. And we're all back, and we can... Of course, all the memories are gone now. But yay, it all works. So these can go back in.